Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing the BookTube Joy and Gratitude tag. This tag was originally created by Pat from Book Chat with Pat, and I was tagged a little while ago by Ellen from the Ellen Made Book Club. The first prompt is joy. Let's be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Name an author whose books bring you joy, or discuss a specific book that made you feel joyful. So I feel like there are a lot of different types of joy that I can feel while I'm reading. There can be joy from the plot, joy from the characters, joy from the writing. But when I think overall of when I feel joy when I'm reading, it's often because of the words themselves and the writing. I just love words, and I love when I'm reading along and there's just a very well-crafted sentence or an amazing description of maybe even something mundane or a character or whatnot. I love clever, witty banter. I just love well-written words and sentences. I also feel a lot of joy when I'm reading along and an author describes a person or a place so well that they just feel real. And there are a couple authors that basically continually do that for me, and one of which is, he has been one of my favorite authors since I was 12, I think, and that is Charles Dickens. His writing is so beautiful to me. The words that he uses, the way he crafts his sentences, and I know a lot of even like the actual words that he uses, people don't tend to use those words anymore. We don't talk that way anymore. We don't tend to write that way anymore. But there is still just such a rich beauty to me in a lot of the words and a lot of the ways in which he writes. Dickens is one of the people that really solidified to me that I wanted to be a writer. Even in the midst of his very verbose descriptions where he might be describing some small mundane thing, it just feels so real and you can visualize whatever it is that he's talking about. Or when he's talking about a character and he's describing the lapel on his coat in a very unique way, and you can just see the lapel on this man's coat. It's just so good. Another author that brings me a lot of joy is another one of my favorite authors, and that is Ellen Montgomery. She is most famous, of course, for her Anne of Green Gables series, but I do love Anne of Green Gables, but Emily of New Moon, she will always hold a special place in my heart. I talked about her in one of my early videos. I want to say it was called 3 books or 3 characters that made me feel seen. I will link to that. I love Emily Bird Starr. Ellen Montgomery just captures happiness and joy and delight and wonder so well in her characters and in her stories, and I really like that. Discuss something about BookTube that you find joyful. I find the community on BookTube joyful. Nothing makes me happier on BookTube than seeing people just coming together to talk about books and to leave thoughtful comments and have discussions and back and forth comments on videos. I especially love when people are having conversations about the themes or the depth or the nuance in books. I love analyzing themes myself as I'm reading, and that's just a fun thing for me to see as well on BookTube. It's just a lot of discussion about some of those things. Friendship. Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world. Prompt 3, discuss a book that focuses primarily on friendship. I love books about friendship. It's one of my favorite plot points. When I read a book with strong friendships, it just makes me so happy and it makes me think about my own friends, and I love my friends to pieces. So the first book that I thought of, I've talked about a handful of times on this channel, and that is Someone Else's Shoes by Jojo Moyes. I won't get into it a ton here because I have talked about it before, but the friendships in this book, it's about 2 main characters, both women, and their individual lives, the things that they're going through, and then how they come to realize that they need a community and how they start to form and create that community for themselves. And then it ends with such powerful, strong friendships, and I love that. Laughter. There's nothing like deep breaths after laughing that hard. Nothing in the world like a sore stomach for the right reasons. I love that quote. I love to laugh. I love to laugh with my friends. I love to laugh with my sisters. I love the feeling of just laughing so hard, and then you think you've got yourself under control, and then you make eye contact, and then it just starts all over again, or you're laughing so hard and then one of you just keeps like adding to it. It's the best. Prompt 4, discuss an author or a specific book that makes you laugh. So I already mentioned Dickens. Again, I don't keep track of quotes. I really should, because there have been so many great quotes from him. Actually, I might have years ago, back when I was more active on Facebook, I think that I did a Dickens quote post, but when in the world was that? Okay, well, I just spent way too long trying to find that post. If I find it after I'm done filming, then I will put some in while I'm editing, but he's very funny. So generally when I'm reading, I don't often laugh out loud, but when I do, it's just the best. And again, I need to start actually physically writing down and creating a list of the books in which I laugh out loud, because when I'm specifically asked, my mind is blank. I can't think of a specific one. So that's great for this prompt. I do know Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry. I don't know if I've laughed out loud, but I have definitely enjoyed a lot of the dialogue banter, specifically with Emily Henry. I love some good banter. Community. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. Prompt 5, discuss a book where the idea of community is important. I've mentioned this book many times, but Beartown. I love this book for this prompt for a couple reasons. I find this book fascinating for a few reasons. First of all, I love the individual characters, always have to shout out Benji, but I love that it highlights so well the importance of having community as an individual, for having support, for having the people around you that can either make things better for you or make things worse for you. I also find it fascinating that this book talks so much about how a community is built. It's the small little comments, the little looks, the little who's friends with who is influential, and what is allowed in joking, or all of these little things that create what defines a community and that create what the community is about, that create how a community will respond in good times or in bad times. I just found it a very fascinating take on what it means to build a community, and then what it means to come around the people that are in your community. I also thought of the book The Celebrants by Stephen Rowley. This book was very interesting because it's been a little bit since I have read it, so I'm trying to remember the details. I want to say there were 5 friends that had been friends for a very long time. It was a group of friends, core group of friends that had been friends for a long time. And one person in their friend group passed away. And so they came together for a celebration of life for this friend. And it was while they were there that they decided that they weren't going to wait anymore for someone else in their group to pass away before they celebrated that life. So they decided that at some point, whenever each individual wanted to, they would call a celebration of life so that they could get together and have fun and remember that individual and celebrate them and who they are and celebrate their friendship. I just thought it was a very unique concept and very thought-provoking too. Prompt 6, discuss a communal reading experience that you have had. I have not had many communal reading experiences, although I've been very intrigued by the concept of the silent book club. I hadn't even heard about it until a year and a half ago, and it just sounds like such a fun concept and fun idea. I have been a part of a couple book clubs, but just because of scheduling and whatnot, I have not been routinely part of one. It's been more of just like I've been able to go a couple times, but I haven't been as consistent as I would love to be. And I guess when I first read this prompt, my brain automatically went to in-person community experiences. But if I zoom out and I think about online community experiences, I have had some great community experiences. I think I just said community experiences 3 times in a row. And even just thinking about reading the same books as friends, even if it's not at the same time, even if they read it months or years later, then being able to talk about it and enjoy living vicariously through them as they read it for the first time, or vice versa, if I read it after them, then being able to talk about some of the spoilers or the characters or all of these things. That's so fun to me. And this past year in 2024, I obviously read Fourth Wing, as did so many people, and I loved it. And my best friend finally picked it up towards the end of 2024. So I was finally able to send her my deluge of Fourth Wing reels on Instagram. And that was so fun being able to talk about all of that with her. And then she read Iron Flame, and now we are both very excited for Onyx Storm coming out soon. I love the moments too of being able to share fan theories, and there are so many fan theories right now going on with Onyx Storm about to come out, and seeing just the excitement that so many people have, even strangers and people I don't even know. It's just fun to be part of this shared excitement. And absolutely, when I think about online community, I also think of the Ellen Main Book Club and the club that she started online. I have really enjoyed seeing the videos that she's put out on the books that her book club is going through, and seeing some other people also creating videos for the book club and just the comments and the conversations that people are having about that. It's been really fun. Gratitude. I can no other answer make but thanks and thanks. Prompt 7. Name a book in which a character demonstrates real gratitude, or name a book that left you feeling a sense of gratitude. So when I was thinking about this prompt, I realized that a lot of the books that I thought of all kind of had a same central theme. And if you've been watching my channel, you might have noticed that I've been reading a lot of books on this theme lately, so that's probably why it came to mind. But a lot of books that I have been reading lately have been books about cult experiences, women's stories, women's experiences, and those books make me feel so grateful. While the books aren't necessarily themselves about gratitude, it leaves me very grateful to so many people, and in this context, women specifically, who have come before me in recent years, in long ago years, women who have fought tooth and nail for their voices to be heard, for themselves, for their daughters, for their sisters, for their friends. Women who have been through so much in ways that should not have ever been required of them. People who have been through horrific things just for basic decency sometimes. It just makes me so grateful for people that have stood up for themselves and given themselves a voice and given voices to many other people. People who have overcome impossible odds. People who are healing trauma, who are breaking cycles. That makes me grateful. And finally, prompt number 8, tag others to spread a sense of joy and gratitude. I'm going to tag Una Reads, Curious Cat, and RM Seneca. If you guys would like to do this tag, I would love to hear your answers. And if you weren't tagged and you want to do this, please absolutely do this tag and let me know, because I would love to watch your video. And until next time, happy reading.